Hey guys, it's your girl Brittany LaJoyce, and I'm back with the shade of it all. But I'm really pissed. As you can see, my voice is a little bit raised. I'm really upset right now because I am very sick and tired as an African American who is into K-pop. I have a love-hate relationship with K-pop. I've said this before, but I am really sick and tired of all of these groups. There's a lot of new groups coming out, adapting black culture, adapting hip-hop rap culture, and not knowing what they're doing. They don't know what they're wearing, what their style represents. They don't know. They've never seen black people, never conversed with black people, never been around black people, don't know any black people. And I'm going to give you examples. It's a lot of cultural appropriation in K-pop right now, and it has to stop. Okay? I love Big Bang. I stand for Big Bang. Big Bang is my favorite group. It's South Korean group, period. Okay? And I love them. But when they did a music show of a year, I think it was last year, they dressed up as a Korean blood gang. Now, if you don't know what the Bloods are, that's a dangerous gang in LA. And I thought to myself, do they know what they're wearing? Who styled them to think that this was okay? I know somebody internationally could not have styled them. I know it had to be someone ignorant to the fact that it's not okay for them to be dressing or to be dressed up as a dangerous gang like that. It's disrespectful, first of all. It's disrespectful because it's saying that you're not taking the time to research and understand. You're just like, oh, I've seen this in hip-hop videos, or I've seen this in a video and it looks cool. That's the ignorance of South Korea. That's one example. Another example, Simon and Martina has called them out, and a lot of people don't like Simon and Martina, but I'm thankful that he called YGCL out. Now, YG is a hip-hop label. It even has, Teddy is actually an American producer. He's living in South Korea now, but he's from America. Choice 32, I think he's from America as well. You would think they would be able to tell YG better. They would know better. But instead, in the video, they dressed up like cholos, like it's funny. And CL's the baddest female. Now, I know I still don't like that video. I will not stand for CL's video. I didn't like the song, The Baddest Female, at first. But it's caught on to me. I even did a cover of the song, so it's caught on to me. But I still don't like the video, and I definitely don't like the part with all of them sitting there dressed like cholos, never been to Los Angeles, that part of Los Angeles, never been to Compton, never spoken to a Mexican person, never even been around that situation. That's another thing that made me angry, and I'm glad Simon and Martina, regardless of the flack that they're getting for it, called them out, called YG out. No one in South Korea dresses like that. So clearly it's a dream. Clearly it's an imagination. Clearly it's something that they want to do without knowing. Okay? Another example, After School just came back with their comeback. But then in one of the music shows, they performed an intro piece before the actual song. And they were dressed up all in white. They all looked like Aaliyah. But they had one of their pants rolled up to the knee and the other leg of the pants was down. Now, that is a gang sign. That's a gang sign. Okay? Like, even anyone in America that knows about gang culture and all that stuff will tell you that having your pants leg rolled up is a sign that you're in a gang or something like that. And that's not something that you should be doing. So I know that these people who are dressing and styling them are not doing their research, and they're totally ignorant to the fact of that, because if they knew that, they probably wouldn't do that. You don't want to make enemies in places that you don't even know of. Okay? Another example. BTS is a new idol boy group that just came out. Their whole concept is laughable. It's hip hop, and it's the dressing, the beat of the music and all that stuff, very urbanized, very hip hop. Another situation, Ravi from VIX was at a fan signing, and the video has been floating around in the K-pop international community of a black male fan at a fan signing for VIX. And Ravi from VIX is looking at the black guy like he saw E.T. Like, For like 10 minutes straight, he's looking at them. Now, some people were saying, oh, it's because he was happy to have a male fan. No, it's because the male fan was black and he's never seen a black person in real life before, most likely. Okay? Because there's not a lot of black people in Korea. Okay? So that's why. Not because that was a fan and it was a male. Because there were other Korean male fans there and he was not looking at them like that. Okay? So that's an issue right there. That here he was dressed in African American attire if you looked at his clothing at the fan signing, but he's never been around a black person before. So he was looking shocked, okay? There are lots of more examples. There's a new girl group called Two Eyes coming out from Jay Park's company called Cities HQ, and they are a girl group, and their style is very urban as well. Tara N4, their style is very urban. When they did their unit thing, their style is very urban as well. I could give you example after example after example after example, but what I will not do is I will not have South Korea with its anti-blackness colorism self try to be what they are not. They are wiggers and they need to be called out. Anytime you see somebody in America that is not black, that has not been around black people, that don't have friends that are black, none of that, and they are trying to act that black or whatever, we in the community will call them wiggers. Why can't we call them that? They need to be called out. They are wearing and provoking dangerous ideals. They're wearing outfits and things that they don't even know what they're wearing, what it means, what it represents. They don't know what they're doing. There aren't many black people in South Korea, so how could they have been able to be around or talk to a black person and understand the culture? Now, some may say, well, what about Jay Park? First of all, Jay Park is American. He's been around black people. His best friend is black. I mean, seriously, like he knows the difference, to separate the difference between what is black and what is hip hop. There's a difference between the culture, okay? And he could separate that because he grew up in America. I'm disgusted by these groups. It seems like this concept of hip hop and rap and the dressing and the clothing and all that is very acceptable right now in K-pop. And it's disgusting me out as a black person, because how can you want to embrace our music, black culture, but then you want to be anti-black? When I see groups of people called a tanner, not even really dark, but a tanner Korean, darky, blacky, like they do Kai, I think it's very inappropriate and disgusting and disturbing. I don't care what fans have to say. There is no excuse, because I have black friends. I am black, and we don't call each other darky and all that other stuff. That's out of line, okay? And clearly Kai is tired of hearing that, okay? It's also probably just jealousy. But I'm just over it. I feel like CL, though, I will say this in CL's defense, CL was born in South Korea, but she's an international girl, as in she lived in France. She lived in America for a while. So I'm sure she's been around different races. She understands better. You know, she speaks good English. She's attended events with different types of people. So I will give her the benefit of the doubt as to say, I understand, and I believe that she understands more than a lot of these other Korean stars who've never been out of their country and don't have that experience. She understands more the black experience, or maybe so the urban experience, than anyone else, because she's been, so she don't have an excuse. She doesn't have an excuse. But there is a lot of cultural appropriation in K-pop, and I don't care what anyone says. If a black artist or if a U.S. artist started doing South Korean things and appropriating their culture, they'd be upset as well. Another thing I'd like to say is that I think blackface needs to end. How can you clearly, as a company, as K-pop, clearly idolize black music and want to imitate black music, but then you're anti-blackness? the colorism issue. You're doing blackface and thinking it's just a costume and not thinking twice about it. You're calling Tanner members darky and ugly and saying that if your skin is not fair and pale as fucking Twilight's Edward Cullen, then you're not pretty. And not just Kai has experienced this, but Tasha, she's half black, half white. Lee Michelle is half black, half white from half black, half Korean from K-pop star. They, I Saw Nee, it's the legendary singer. There's so many mixed babies or mixed race children who go through a lot of anxiety and teasing and bullying because their skin is darker and because they're not looked at as fully Korean. And it's got to stop. Even Horan from Sistar, she likes to tan. And I'm thankful that she likes to tan because a lot of them need to tan. They seriously look terrible, just too pale. But they want to call her ugly and say she's dark and she's too dark and dark looks dirty and disgusting. It's a contradiction that you love our culture, love our music, but then you really don't want to associate yourself with us, or you want to be rude. Like Paul Mooney said, everybody wants, and excuse my French, but everybody wants to be a nigga, but they really don't want to be a nigga. That's all I have to say. I'm over it. Stop doing it. Stop trying to be what you're not. Stop trying to be wiggers. Stop trying to culture appropriate without even knowing. And let me just say this, for people who are saying, well, they grew up and born and raised in South Korea, so how would they know about black people? First of all, have you ever heard of a district called Itaewon? That is the foreigner district of Korea. There's black people there. They could start a conversation and get to know some foreigners out there. Not only that, but if there's not any black people in Korea, they could go online, they can Google, they can learn about black culture. In high school, they are taught about the civil rights movement, about Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Yes, they are taught that. It's in the curriculum. Google it, okay? Seriously, it's ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous. If we can spend so much time as international fans to learn about the South Korean culture, and we've never been there, we can just Google it. Then they can take the time to learn about black culture and learn what things really mean and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Somebody needs to call them out on this, and I'm going to be the first to do it. And that's the shade of it all.